Hello and welcome to the Reading with Cari podcast. New episodes air every Wednesdays with special mini-sodes airing on Saturdays on any device you listen to podcasts. Click the link in the description to find the podcast now. Thank you and enjoy. Hello and welcome to Reading with Cari, a mindfulness podcast series that can be used as a sleep aid or to ease your anxiety and relieve your stress. I am your host, Cari Favole, and I am so thankful that you've decided to spend some time with me. Getting back to the roots of this podcast, I wanted to share with you some Japanese folklore that was relevant to the winter season. Today, I will be sharing with you some stories about the YukiOnna, or literally translated, snow woman. She may go by other names, usually changing the second half onna, which means woman, to other descriptions like sister, old lady, girl, etc. Before we begin, as always, let's start with a brief breathing exercise. This is the one-item 5 senses exercise. For this, you will need an object. It can be a pencil or your phone. A piece of food may be the easiest to go through all the 5 senses. However, if that is a trigger for you, or if you are intermittent fasting, using a food item is not at all required. Just pick an item that is closest to you. A pillow if you're on the bed. Now first, we are going to start with a brief breathing exercise. Close your eyes and breathe deeply with pauses once you fully inhale and a pause after you fully exhale. Center yourself on the here and now. Focus on the breath passing through the heart. Place your feet on the floor or whatever surface you're sitting on and feel them. Feel grounded. Sink deeper into the chair or the bed or the floor. Relax your shoulders as you breathe in deeply and naturally and exhale. Now open your eyes and pick up your object, a pen, an orange, whatever you have available. Pay attention and look at it. Really describe it to yourself. What color is it? What's the hue? Is it pastel? Is it deep? Is it rich? What's the texture like? Are there dimples? Is it rough and coarse? Is there moisture? Or is it hard and smooth? Truly focus on this object. Feel the texture with your fingers. Feel every part if you can. Consider the coloring and now sniff it. Does it have a scent? Is it sweet? Is it sour? If it's a pen, maybe it smells like your sweat. Or perhaps it smells like linen, fresh laundry. Maybe it doesn't have a smell. What does the room smell like that you're in right now? Sometimes the item can create a sound. Tap gently on it with your fingertips. Pretend you're in an ASMR video and try to make noise with it. If it's a pen or a pencil, maybe lightly draw with it. Just focus on the sound that it makes. You don't have to write a word. Now, if you can, let the taste hit your tongue. If you can eat it, if it's food, go ahead and bite into it and let the flavor dance on your tongue. If you don't have a food item, you can also taste the air if there's nothing around. Stick your tongue out really wide and wag it in the air, or breathe in deeply. Can you taste anything on the air? If it's not food and you think it's hygienic enough, you could lick the item if you'd like. Might be a little silly. Just imagine what it would taste like if you could. If it's a pencil, imagine what the wood would feel like against your teeth. Or the ink, if it's a pen, would probably taste a bit sour. Again, you don't have to lick your phone. Remember to be safe and healthy. Just imagine it if you can't eat it. Just take a few more minutes. When you're doing this exercise on your own, you should take maybe 5 minutes, 8 minutes, probably no more than 10 minutes. It shouldn't take that long. Just focus on the feeling, the touching, what it looks like, what it smells like, and if possible, what it tastes like, or what you imagine it would taste like. Really focus. Okay. Did you go through all the senses with me? Then I think we've done it. Congratulations. If you would like, let's take a nice, slow sigh. And now, here are some common legends about YukiOnna. YukiOnna appears on snowy nights as a tall, beautiful woman with long black hair and blue lips. Her inhumanly pale or even transparent skin makes her blend into the snowy landscape. She often wears a white kimono, but other legends describe her as nude, with only her face and hair standing out against the snow. Despite her inhuman beauty, her eyes can strike terror into mortals. She floats across the snow, leaving no footprints. In fact, some tales say she has no feet, a feature of many Japanese ghosts, and she can transform into a cloud of mist or snow if threatened. Some legends say the YukiOnna being associated with winter and snowstorms is the spirit of someone who perished in the snow. She is at the same time beautiful and serene, yet ruthless in killing unsuspecting mortals. Until the 18th century, she was almost uniformly portrayed as evil. Today, however, stories often color her as more human, emphasizing her ghost-like nature and ephemeral beauty. In many stories, YukiOnna appears to travelers trapped in snowstorms and uses her icy breath to leave them as frost-coated corpses. Other legends say she leads them astray, so they simply die of exposure. Other times, she manifests holding a child. When a well-intentioned soul takes the child from her, they are frozen in place. Parents searching for lost children are particularly susceptible to this tactic. Other legends make YukiOnna much more aggressive. In these stories, she often invades homes, blowing in the door with a gust of wind to kill residents in their sleep. Some legends require her to be invited inside first. What YukiOnna is after varies from tale to tale. Sometimes she is simply satisfied to see a victim die. Other times, she's more vampiric, draining her victim's blood or life force. She occasionally takes on a succubus-like nature, preying on weak-willed men to drain or freeze them through sex or a kiss. Like the snow and winter weather she represents, YukiOnna has a softer side. She sometimes lets would-be victims go for various reasons. In one popular YukiOnna legend, for example, she sets a young boy free because of his beauty and age. She makes him promise never to speak of her, but later in life, he tells the story to his wife, who reveals herself to be the snow woman. She reviles him for breaking the promise, but spares him again, this time out of concern for their child. But if he dares mistreat their child, she will return with no mercy. Luckily for him, he is a loving father. In some versions, she chose not to kill him because he told her, which she did not treat as a broken promise. Technically, YukiOnna herself is not a human and thus did not count. In a similar legend, YukiOnna melts away once her husband discovers her true nature. However, she departs to the afterlife afterward the same way. There are various legends about the YukiOnna's true identity, such as saying that the YukiOnna is a snow spirit or the spirit of a woman who fell over in the snow. In a setsuwa of the Oguni region of Yamagata Prefecture, a Yukijoro was originally a princess of the moon world, and in order to leave a boring lifestyle came down to earth together with snow, but was unable to go back to the moon, and so is said to appear on snowy moonlit nights. Old tales about YukiOnna are mostly stories of sorrow, and it is said that these tales started from when people who have lived gloomy lives, such as childless old couples or single men in mountain villages, would hear the sound of a blizzard knocking on their shutter door and fantasize that the thing they longed for has come. Yamaoka Genrin, an intellectual from the Edo period, said that YukiOnna is born from snow. It was supposed that if there were a lot of something, a living thing would come forth from it, giving birth to fish if the water is deep enough, and birds if the forest is thick enough. So in places like Echigo, it is said that YukiOnna might be born from within deep snow. In Chikamatsu Monzeimon's YukiOnna Gomai ha Goita, the story is about how a woman who was deceived and murdered became a YukiOnna and took revenge as a vengeful ghost. The bewitching and frightening aspects of a YukiOnna are often used in such depictions. So my takeaway from this is that regardless of the differences in the legend, there is always a popular myth or idea of a snow woman who can be very tempting but dangerous. This also reminds me of the concept of a snow queen, which, spoilers, is next week's story. Thank you for listening. I welcome you back anytime you may need to hear a comforting voice or a familiar bedtime story.